Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament Weekly Broadcast. This is Nightcat and I'll be your host for this week. We're going to do mostly recommended games this week, along with a game tossed in from the round robin, which is still ongoing. As we can see on the screen here, the standings as of this recording being made, no bot has an undefeated record at this point. Stardust is currently maintaining the top spot with a 94.7% win rate, with Beta Star close behind at 91.1%. And what is cool to see is that Stardust and Beta Star went 1-1 against each other, so how they place will greatly depend on how consistent they are against the rest of the field. Looking at the bottom of the top 16, McRave Z is fighting to get into 16th place with just 2% difference between them and Tier Protoss, who's currently in 16th place. The round robin is almost done with close to just 380 games left, so it might even be done by the time of the next cast or even by the time this cast airs. I'm excited to see who we get in the elimination phase, so it's bound to be an exciting elimination phase. For our first matchup for today's cast, we have a AI versus human game. This one was a recommended one. We've got Crazio spawning as the Teal Terran in the top right here of Python, going up. Well, actually, I guess it's not really the top right. It's more like the middle right. Going up against ZW Tiger, who is spawning as the Brown Protoss at the, I guess it's the top left, but it's kind of like in the middle starting position here. So we've got, it looks like a pretty standard openings so far. Got a gateway now under construction for Tiger, while Crazio has his barracks and supply depot there. Now, something that I've noticed human players will tend to do that I haven't really seen bots do in TVP is place their barracks right up against the command center, because it does create a gap that Marines can run in between and station themselves to fire at Zealots, while the Zealots cannot get in there to attack the Marines. But we have Cybernetics core, so we've got a 1-gate core coming out for Tiger here. Meanwhile, we do have the fast expansion going on here for Crazio. Got a Marine popped out here. The gas is under construction. Looks like we've got the first goon, and we've got goon range, sorry, not goon speed. So this bunker now is coming down. We'll probably see some pressure being applied to the bunker by the goons once that range finishes, and they can safely fire on it without fear of the Marines inside firing back. Now, the first goon is going to go ahead and chase the scouting SCV. Chases it, getting some nice shots off. Nice movement there by the player. Kind of just chasing that SCV and positioning, instead of just following behind, positioning that Dragoon to go ahead and take out the scout. Now, the player has not scouted yet. He did not send out a probe, so he's going ahead and scouting with this first Dragoon, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you're not expecting any kind of cheese. You can tell, or you could potentially wait for, but you are opening yourself up to cheese if it does come. So now the Dragoon does wander into the bunker. He's found his opponent, and now Crazio is going to go ahead and get that second gas. Got the factory going, getting that looks like siege mode. So we'll have siege tanks here pretty soon to defend. I like the anticipation of these Dragoons attacking. And as the range finishes, the Dragoons do open fire on the bunker. And then you could probably still click on the bunker as a player, though it would be a little bit difficult to do so. But you don't actually even need to click if you do hold position at the right spot. They're going to go ahead and fire. But now with the siege tank out and siege mode up, the Dragoons are going to be forced back. But here come the Dark Templars. And I don't think the Academy just finished. We don't have any detection yet for Crazio. Going straight for the Comsat station. Nice targeting there by the player. Crazio quickly abandoning the base with the SCVs. I like that response. Get the workers to safety. We've got two more Dark Templar coming in. There's two more underway. So will Crazio be able to handle this? He is getting turrets in the main. He's not getting a Comsat in the main. Still trying to finish this Comsat here at the natural. It does finish, does get a scan off, which is going to do some damage here, but that scan is going to wear off before he can clean that up. Now, he's got the ramp blocked with a Dark Templar. I like that. Crazio can't get out until he can clear that Dark Templar. Now he does now have the main comsat up, and he's getting a turret right next to the choke. So his main should be secure for now, but he has temporarily lost this natural. Now let's see what the player is going to be transitioning to. We're still getting Dark Templar out, because Crazio still doesn't really have good mobile detection. He's got very limited scans right now because that comsat is brand new, barely any energy in it. And so now we will see how Crazio tries to work its way out of this. We've got 2 more, so the player now is setting up just outside the natural. They're moving in after that scan wears off. Crazio trying to get a turret down, but the player able to move in just in time to stop it. Now using mines to try and clear these Dark Templar. I like that move. That is one advantage that Terran can have, even if you don't have that mobile detection. Those mines will go off on the cloaked units, so that does help you quite a bit there. Meanwhile, behind this, it looks like we are getting the science facility, so we will be getting the science vessels pretty soon here, and we might stabilize more into a traditional PvT here soon. It looks like the player has gone up to 3 gateways, has gone on to 2 bases here, getting a cannon there at the natural. Like to see that. Right now the player is up to, looks like he's getting his 3rd established, so he'll be up 3 to 1 base pretty soon here, which is a position that you want to be in as Protoss, and you want to just deny this natural for as long as you can. But now I like Crazio using the high ground here with the barracks as a spotter. The barracks is going to need to be repaired here though pretty soon. Nice building or base space usage by Crazio here, being stuck on just the 1 base. A lot of open space here for more supply depots if you need it. Now pushing, able to get a bit of a line here at the naturals choke. Should be able to hold this, and now really for Crazio it's more a matter of, okay, I need to stabilize, I need to get this natural up, you know, maybe start to try and work towards a 3rd base, protect the tank with my units kind of bugging out there a little bit, overlapping each other. This replay would probably have died at remaster if I had tried it. So let's see what so the player is just kind of doing a contain here, which I like, while getting this 3rd established, getting the gateway count up. Very nice to see. Meanwhile, Crazio has got this natural established, and because he saved all of those SCVs from that Dark Templar push, he was able to repopulate it almost immediately once that command center was built. And so getting full mining out of it right away, although I like that one SCV that had gas canister in its hands while it mined minerals. So bye-bye 8 gas that we'll never see again. Now Crazio trying to get itself a little bit of space, and also trying to kind of scout what's going on, fight some of these zealots that were positioned down in the bottom right. Looks like it might be trying to expand down there as well, because there are some remains of a building down there right where a command center would go, and just sort of slowly pushing this Protoss back, giving itself some space to breathe. Protoss, it looks like the Protoss was thinking about going to the bottom right, but then went ahead and decided to back out. Actually, I think he might have been trying to set up a concave in case a full-on push was coming from Crazio, but it looks like that wasn't quite the case. Now we've kind of got trying to delay the push of the Terran while we build up our forces that the Protoss will tend to do. Although Terran now, so Crazio was trying to go ahead and take this other natural, I think because it got denied in this corner, but the Protoss player is able to hold that off, but now Crazio going for a push, which I don't know if this is what I would recommend as move. Especially it's pushing just across the middle of the map, wide open for surrounds, and it looks like that is exactly what the Protoss player is doing. It's going to sandwich this force between its natural and the army, or actually he's going to crush this and just completely ignoring the army right now. But that is going to pull the army back to try and fight this force. Now this force is actually kind of cornered. It's going to be forced to deal with the troops that are there, but it looks like the player is trying to pull those troops back instead of engaging. And now trying to come down here, but going to have to deal with the mines. And there's still a decent amount of force. And now I was thinking that the Protoss player was going to trap Crazio's army, but instead Crazio's army kind of did a surround on the Protoss ball there with how things worked. But the Protoss army is able to push into the natural here, but I don't think it's going to be dealing enough damage to have really been worth the trade there. which is very unfortunate to see for the player. However, Crazio now coming back out towards the middle of the map, and while all that was happening, taking that bottom right corner. Very nice to see that expansion. We do have mines down to make sure that there aren't any other expansions happening that Crazio is not aware of. Even up here. Now, that looks like the player is going to try and take a base up there, but it's going to have a little bit of a problem because there's a mine in the way, but he can start off with... I think he has noticed that and trying to place the Nexus, so he's going to go ahead and place a pylon down first to get some cannons, but really right now, on the army count, very goon heavy. And the Terran army is very tank heavy, and I don't think the player's really going to be able to smash this, but it looks like he's going for a counter instead. Checking this spot up here, making sure that there's no expansion, and now coming in the natural, so essentially trying to get Crazio to either have to retreat or possibly engage in a base trade, but if he can get that tank up onto the high ground, almost got that tank up onto the high ground, it could have got some nice shots off there had it done that. So Crazio's going to go ahead and lose this natural. Player's going to go ahead and try and do as much damage as it can, but really, it depends on how well the player can also hold this ramp. If you can keep Crazio from being able to press up into the main while taking out Crazio's main, or at least dealing heavy damage, he might be able to do some good here, but he's kind of thinking now, I think, okay, I've stopped the mining of Crazio, not realizing perhaps that this bottom right base is alive. So Crazio's economy is still going strong. Meanwhile, the player is also down to one mining base, and oh, we've got a shuttle here. I'm wondering what's in that. Gonna try and keep that shuttle in mind here. It might be coming for this bottom right base here. Oh, we're shuttling down. Oh, we're shuttle mining? Is that what we're doing right now? Or we're just storing our workers down there on the island for safety. But Crazio's gonna go ahead and clean up this main. I've kind of lost sight of the player's army here. There's a lot of units here just kind of idling for the player, but I think they're busy. Yeah, they're busy right now. They're just trying to unload all of their workers down here on the island while their main gets cleared by Crazio here. So it'll be interesting to see if Crazio can actually... Oh, here was the army down in the bottom right clearing that. Okay. And then Crazio was trying to do something about that, but it looks like Crazio might be in a bit of a position here because he doesn't have any active mining bases. The player does, and the player is taking the island base. So this is going to be hard to see who's actually going to come up on top here. Because Crazio still has a pretty decent force, and the player's in a bit of a precarious position, but he does have a lot of minerals and gas banked up that he could spend on units. Crazio really should hit this top left instead of hitting this base here, but it looks like we are seeing a transition to air, which is a pretty good move. You've killed your opponent's economy, but Crazio is getting another base. So if the player's not able to deal with that, Crazio's economy could kick in before these air units pop out. If we go over to production, we can see he's producing some scouts. So he's going to kind of give away that he is going for air here. But the scouts are going to pop out, and Crazio's going to have not much that can deal with them immediately. Does have a Wraith. Which may have Cloak. So we'll see what happens. Oh, no, they got unpowered, so the scouts didn't get to finish in time. But now they do finish. So the scouts are going to go get hit by the little bit of anti-air that is there. Oh, nice defense matrix on the Wraith to deal with the scouts, pulling back into the cannons. Smart move there. Oh, that Wraith did not get pulled back in time. But one of the scouts is down with that defense matrix move. Now we do have some Goliaths in the mix of the army now that Crazio has been able to establish this base and populate it with the workers that were still alive very quickly. So the player trying to hold on here, trying to get to carriers if it can, but really I don't think they can get to the carriers fast enough. May have actually been better to plop your carrier or your Stargates down here because this base has not been touched by Crazio yet. But we do have this island base here. We do have a Stargate down here. So might be able to get a carrier off in time, but these Stargates are going to fall. I don't know if this is building a carrier or a scout. I guess we'll see which pops out here. It's the carrier or the scout. Looks like it's going to be the scout then. Looks like we're getting another Stargate further back, so the player is just really trying to delay. I don't know why you're spending the resources on it there, but I guess when you have 5k minerals and 1k gas, it doesn't matter all that much if you're going to lose it. This top left base now is mined out. These gateways have been rather passive. We've now taken the top right island base. I am curious to see how Crazio is going to do at handling a player who has positioned units here. The shuttle has been taken out. And now we're trying to get loads of carriers. And Crazio has taken over all of the land space, really, that has minerals. So now I'm just curious to see how the rest of this is going to play out. We're going to speed this up just a little bit here. So Crazio is going to clear out on land what is left. Going to find this top left base. Come to clean that out. The player's going to try and hide those probes and might do so successfully in that corner. Nope, they get found and cleaned up. So now it's just the island bases left for the player, who does have some carriers now hitting this bottom middle base. The Wraith somewhat engaging, but also trying to back off a bit. Now the Goliaths and the army are free to kind of come in and hit. The carriers, though, hitting the main as well. So we've kind of got two fleets of carriers here. The map is speckled with teal pretty much everywhere. Running around looking for the last buildings. I don't know if Crazio is going to be able to attack the island bases successfully, or if it's even going to really check them for their existence. Oh, okay, so there is a defense matrix Wraith here targeting some probes. I think there's another Wraith in the corner. Or that was the science vessel there in the corner. Okay, that was getting hit by the cannon. So yeah, now these carriers are just doing some work, but also getting targeted, and it looks like the player, I believe, tapped out. Yep, the player tapped out at that point. So very interesting game. I do wonder, though, if Crazio ever would have attacked these island buildings or these island bases in a way that would have been able to clear them. But very fun game. So for the next game, we have one off of the SSCAIT round robin. The current top two bots as of this recording, we've got Beta Star spawning as the white Protoss in the top left corner of La Mancha, going up against Stardust spawning as the red Protoss down in the bottom right. So I figured we would watch a game against the two top bots to see how they are performing against each other. Here we've got Stardust doing a scout off to the right, and Beta Star doing a similar scout off to its right, both finding the empty bases here. But Stardust, I believe, is able to find Beta Star. Beta Star does a cross scout after the scout to the right and finds Stardust rather, and then we'll back off. Beta Star, I'm not actually sure. I think Stardust found him and I just missed it. But so we do have similar looking builds here for the players. We've got two gateway goons, although Stardust seems to be a little bit faster at it right now although the Forge was faster here for Beta Star. Oh, let's just slow down a slight bit here while we check out the army count. So one more goon out, two more goons out now. And goon production continuing here along with two more gateways. So it looks like we have a 4-gate here. Although the 4-gate that I'm used to, you generally plop all four or your 3 additional gates down at like the same time instead of doing 2 gates and then 2 additional gates later. So the timing looks a little bit off to me, but maybe just as a less experienced player, I might be missing something there. But it looks like we're maybe going for, did we get legs? Or I'm trying to figure out why we got this. Citadel of a Dune, but nothing with it just yet. We haven't got legs. We have not got Dark Templar tech, so it seems a little bit odd. We are going up to 4 gateways now, though. I'm wondering if that's a response to the unit count that we're seeing. Perhaps we were going to go for Dark Templars, and then we realized, oh, we need unit production, and so maybe then it switched, and that might be why we have the Citadel of Dune that's not doing anything for us. So it may have just been that Stardust was a good bit faster with getting its 4 gate out and getting the pressure on in enough time that Beta Star had to abandon its original plan. Now we are seeing a 5th gateway come down for Beta Star, so Beta Star is going to be able to outproduce Stardust relatively soon here. Both are on 1 base, but Beta Star now has 5 gateways, whereas Stardust has 2. Stardust isn't quite able to push up this ramp because Beta Star could just get a concave and they would have to deal with low ground versus high ground for some of their units. But Beta Star is also not able to quite push out yet, but we are getting an engagement here. We are seeing some goons trading, and of course that low ground versus the high ground, Stardust is not trading well. Now Stardust is transitioning out of the 4 gate. It is getting its natural up. It realizes, okay, I can't break this main and win in this stalemate that we have going on, so I'm going to need to do something additional to get this win out. We're still, though, producing off of 5 gateways and 4 gateways for both opponents. So now that natural is up, we've got probe production coming back up. We're now getting our robotics facility and an assimilator at the natural for Stardust. And Beta Star just can't quite feel confident enough to go and try to break this contain yet. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out, because if Beta Star's not able to break this contain and Stardust can just hold it while expanding and getting some tech, I think Stardust is going to come out way ahead here versus Beta Star in this game. So let's see, we are getting our observatory, so we're getting our detection, which isn't really going to do much for us just yet. Oh, and that coon just wanders down there and gets absolutely destroyed. But we are getting our observers out, so that will give us a better feel for what's going on. The probe manages to get the pylon down, but then gets sniped by the dragoons. So this is going to be interesting here to see. I'm just kind of like watching here. Stardust is going ahead and I think taking a 3rd base, or has taken a 3rd base. Looking at the map there. And just watching the dragoons dance here. I'm waiting for someone to make a definitive move, though it makes sense that Stardust is just holding up the... And I think Beta Star might be trying to get a pylon built somewhere in the natural, with the way that it just keeps sending a probe down there. And the dragoons are kind of poking. I really think Stardust might have this. Beta Star is not handling this contain well. It's refusing to engage. It's not getting any additional tech. If it had gone for Reavers, it could have maybe broke this by having the Reavers fire from the high ground. But yeah, now that's just sacrificing more and more probes. It's going to run out of money, not be able to expand. Yeah, very good play by Stardust. Getting that 4 gate up quickly. Getting the contain and then just holding Beta Star back. And look at the production tab right now for Stardust. Just tons of dragoons. Beta Star committing when a dragoon kind of wanders up, but Beta Star, I think maybe just, or Stardust now is at essentially cap supply and is willing to just throw dragoons in here. And really, that's all it has to do. Beta Star's out of money, can't expand, can't mine anymore. Well, it does have some probes, so could long distance mine if it were safe, but now we've got the Dark Templar coming out. And that's going to be the game because Beta Star does not have any detection at this point. So yeah, that seems to be perhaps a weakness of Beta Star, is that if you can get a strong enough contain that it never feels confident breaking, it's just not going to transition out of what it's currently doing. I really liked to see that Stardust set up that contain and then transitioned into other tech, into more expansions. We'll just kind of speed this up a little bit here, because these dragoons are going to have to fall for the Dark Templar to get in there. And we can see that Beta Star is losing the dragoons, though. And actually, I'm curious really quick about the upgrades. Yeah, no upgrades, and these are or actually they're 1/1 dragoons right now for Stardust. So yeah, now they're able to just march in there and clean this up. So very well played game. And just like I was saying, just very cool to see that contain get set up and how Beta Star rather was just not able to deal with it. For our next game, we have another recommended one. This one is off of the Basil ladder. So we have Crazio spawning as the blue Terran in the top left of Circuit Breakers, up against Monster spawning in the top right of Circuit Breakers as the brown Zerg. So Crazio is not participating in, or at least Crazio, the Terran version, is not participating in the SSCAIT tournament this year. So I do not have a win-loss that I can show necessarily that is comparable against Monster, but we can still show how Monster is doing in that tournament currently. Or maybe we'll show the Basil stats. I'm not sure yet when I'm editing this, but once it's edited and you're watching it, you'll see which one I've chosen. So, Monster here is going for a fast expansion. Looks like it was probably a 12 hatch with a then 11 pool. We're getting some more drones going here. Let's get our production up. Crazio going for the 1 racks. It looks like we're going to go for maybe a 1 racks fast expand, I'm thinking here. So we do have our gas. Oh, we're getting our factory. Okay, so we're going mech here. So maybe we're going to see a siege expand or something like that against the Zerg here. We do have 3 SCVs on gas. I thought we were seeing something where some SCVs had been pulled from gas or something like that. We are getting the bunker, though, here at the natural. So we are going to see still some type of fast expansion, I believe, from Crazio. And we're actually getting vultures instead of siege modes, so it's not exactly a siege expand. Now we are seeing the creep colonies get immediately turned into sunkens, or at least one of them there with that SCV out and about. But now the SCV is not going to be able to escape. And the ramp is blocked for one thing, and there are 2 sunkens down there. So I would have rather seen that 100 minerals rather for those 2 sunkens get used somewhere else. But at the same time, perhaps Monster knows that there's some vultures that are going to be a potential problem, and so just has the sunkens to deal with that for whenever it becomes the case. And I do like that the ramp is being blocked, so that does mean that a run by can't be done. It's nice positioning there by Monster. Crazio getting a second factory, so it looks like we're getting some 1 base play actually out of Crazio as opposed to fast expand, with the bunker still here though. So Crazio can take that natural whenever they want. The lair has just finished now for Monster, and we are getting our Spire. So we are going to see perhaps some Mutalisk play here and harass. It looks like Crazio is getting ready to take the natural here. Going to go ahead and take it. So perhaps the 2 factories before the expansion, along with the Goliaths, is just safety in case Monster is going for some aggressive play. But the Goliaths will help with dealing with the Mutalisks, but generally speaking, you're going to do more with your turret positioning against Zerg when it comes to Mutalisk harass. But the Goliaths will still help, though, because they are mobile anti-air, so they do fair amount of damage to the air units. So the natural for Crazio is working on finishing. We are scouting now with the engineering bay, which is going to get hit by the Mutalisks here. Oh, went down a little too far there. Now the Mutalisks are going out onto the map. We do have a vulture that had wandered off a bit to deal with a Zergling. Monster sees the anti-air, trying to find a spot to hit this natural here. Gets maybe 1 or 2 SCVs, I think, there. Being forced to back off, though. Not really having an opening there. Going to go ahead and peek into the main and see if there's something it can do there. Can go ahead and take out that turret. Does take 1 out. We are getting a second Spire, I'm guessing, for air upgrades. Interesting to see that. We are getting the Carapace upgrade, I believe, has been completed. Now coming in here, gonna snipe a CV or 2, losing a couple of Mutalisks though, and Crazio feeling confident enough to try and push out here. so is not afraid of these Mutalisks wreaking havoc in the main. Meanwhile, Monster has set up a third, and I don't know if Monster's going to be able to push this back. This push might run into some issues, though, with the sunken colonies. Gonna have to keep the Goliaths back, but meanwhile, the Mutalisks were able to, with that army gone, they were able to shut down that natural for a bit, but now kind of getting lured out to chase after that tank. The tank now and the Goliaths doing some work here on the natural. Gonna take down, they've taken down 2 Sunkens, it looks like now a third. Gonna take down this 4th. Meanwhile, back at the natural, the Mutalisks are returning to wreak some havoc, so letting this natural fall, it looks like, in order for the Mutalisks to try and shut down the natural as well, trying to trade bases here, but not really being successful at it. I'm wondering how Monster is going to recover from this. It does still have the 2 bases, and Crazio does have to push uphill here. So I'm very interested to see what these 2 bots are going to do. It looks like the Mutalisks are continuing to try and harass the base here. You know, Crazio is pushing into the main now. The question is, will Crazio be able to push in? Feels confident enough to just send the Goliaths in with the tank support, targeting the Mutalisks when they come into range. Looks like the main might be able to survive with building new units. I don't quite think there's enough of a force to clean this up, but heavy damage has been done to the main. Meanwhile, Crazio just expanding to a third, dealing... I heard some shots being fired, so there was something there that they were firing at. Now the new Mutalisks are enough to fend off the rest of the assault. So Zerg is able to survive, but and with a decent number of workers too, I'm assuming because of this base here, is mainly what they're living off of at the moment. Although they are now getting their drone count back up. They do have some Scourges to take out Science Vessels. Nice snipe there with the Scourges. And now another army force here coming into the main to try and clean things up and force these Mutalisks out of Crazio's airspace. Gonna be able to clean that little assault there up. But Crazio's in a really good position here. He's 3 bases, so he's 1 base up on the Zerg. Zerg only 2 bases, has not retaken its natural yet, or any other base on the map. And so this is feeling pretty in favor of Crazio at the moment. The Goliath heavy army was able, with the just a couple of siege tank support, were able to break that natural, keep the Mutalisks from sniping the tanks. Now these Mutalisks handling the Goliaths and the numbers that they are currently at, and we've now got Valkyrie out to handle the Mutalisks. It's a very interesting game so far. It looks like Crazio just kind of throwing smaller armies in here. Maybe could just back off for a little bit, build up your force, and then move in again to clear out the Zerg, but it is keeping Monster from doing anything really with Crazio, and it's keeping the supply counts pretty close, which is not something that you want as a Zerg against a Terran. You want to be up on supply, and while Monster is up on supply, it's still really close. It's closer than you would want to see as the Zerg player. Crazio taking a 4th base now, getting the gas set up at it. The mineral mining is already established at it. Another hatchery, no, Queen's Nest coming down, so it looks like we're going to be maybe trying to get some Queen Tech, or sorry, Hive Tech going on for Monster, but on 2, okay, we do have a 3rd base and a 4th base now, though they're not populated with workers just yet, and Crazio is aware of them. So getting these bases established, though, is really going to help turn the tide for Crazio. Monster's looking in a lot better of a position now than it was just a little bit ago. Gonna go ahead and do some drone transferring here and see if we can do any pain with these Mutalisks, but meanwhile sneaking in an expansion up here, although it's going to go ahead and get discovered and while it is unprotected. And then the Goliath army able to come over and just kind of scare the Mutalisks out. This one just barely surviving and getting a couple shots, and now getting some nice repairs from the SCVs. And we've now got the Mutalisks hitting another base here, trying to repair the bunker, but not able to keep it alive. Now the Goliaths coming in, forcing the Mutalisks to dive a little bit deeper, taking out the turrets. And with the turrets gone, a lot of the SCVs are abandoning the base right now just to stay safe, but Mutalisks able to dance between bases here a little bit easier than the Goliaths are. So I like that dance. So, okay, you've got a bunch of units down here stopping me from attacking it, then I'm just going to come up here and shut you down here. Meanwhile, Monster is mass expanding, or has mass expanded, and is expanding again over here for these minerals. So Monster is in a much more comfortable position now than before. I'm not quite sure what Crazio could have done to try and close this out at that stage. Maybe if it had just waited until it had a little bit larger of an army to go and attack, or maybe if it gave up on the main and was going after that second expansion that it had down in the middle. But I don't know if Crazio was aware of that expansion or not at the time. So that might have been why it was going for that game closing, crush the main type of assaults there. Crazio has built a base down here that is getting torn apart by the Zerg with a random factory here. But we have this long trail of blue here as the Goliaths, the mass Goliaths, are coming in to deal with these Mutalisks. And just out of curiosity here, they are, I think that 3 is upgrade, so they're 3 Carapace, 2 attack Zerg right now. Or actually that 3 might be, I think that 3 is still researching. So they're 2-2 Mutalisks right now. But the Goliaths are 3-3 with the Charon booster upgrade. So we will see losing a few Mutalisks there, but really we've got 33 Mutalisks out in play, 33 Goliaths, so pretty even numbers there. But the Mutalisks are a lot more mobile. I'm wondering if we will see a greater Spire or what type of hive tech we might see. Now we are seeing Zerglings getting mixed in, which is what you want. You want that sort of mix of Zergling, Mutalisk here. The Zerglings cleaning up the rest of that while the Mutalisks come out to deal with the Terran army here. But the Terran army moving in for an assault while losing these bases. Some units are coming back though to try and deal with this and hold off the Zergling flood. But the army now kind of split into 2. The nice pullouts of the irradiated Mutalisks there to minimize damage to the rest of them. And it's that production tab, all these Zerglings that it's going for. Very crazy the production levels that Zerg can reach with enough hatcheries and bases. We do have another irradiated Mutalisk that was pulled out. We have the Queens out now as well. I'm not sure if we'll see perhaps some spawn broodlings or maybe just some parasites and snare going on. Mutalisks are falling to the number of Goliaths that there are, but the Goliaths might struggle with the Sunkens. It's hard to say. The Sunken line here at the retaken natural for a Monster. But Crazio's up in supply, which is what you want to see as a Terran player. So I think he might have... Crazio might have the leverage here right now. We're down to 10 Mutalisks. It looks like we're doing a switch into Hydralisks right now. But Hydralisks don't really have the same kind of upgrades that the Mutalisks do. So this is interesting to see it do this switch while it's under this heavy pressure. I think I would have preferred to have seen it stay on Mutalisks and maybe switch to Hydralisks while on an offensive. But yeah, this natural is now going to fall, and now we've got more tanks coming out as we've got less Mutalisks for Monster. We do have the Ultralisk Cavern down, but the Hive Tech may have just been a little bit too late. Crazio was able to just get the numbers and upgrades that it needed to overrun Monster, so very nice game. Looked like it was going to be Crazio's earlier on, but Crazio just not quite able to finish off the main, and then Monster able to recover by taking those additional bases in the bottom right. But then Monster just not able to get the numbers and the army composition that it needed to overcome those massive numbers of Goliaths. So very well played game here, and I think this is going to end up going for Crazio. But Monster does have a lot of expansions, but losing your main is never a good thing. Losing all of those larva factories, essentially, the hatcheries, and then the hive. Speed this up just a bit here. While Crazio cleans up the main here with the army, we'll just check in and see if there's anything going on at the other bases here. There is some picking off. We did have a broodling there of a tank, I believe. Nice 150 mana spell, I believe it is, in order to, or energy spell rather. It's energy in StarCraft. To take out one tank. I'm trying to watch too if, because you have this second domain here, you could replace a lot of those buildings that you lost with it, but we are getting a couple more hatcheries. But I don't see replacement of any of the hive tech or the layers. All those drones just appearing at once. Not what you need right now. Well, I mean, you do need the workers to get the minerals, but at the same time, you've got 3k minerals, so you really need the army right now. Crazio just closing in here on this bottom right. Also cleaning up this mid right here. Getting a lair at the base that was just being sieged. Didn't seem like a smart choice right away, but it's Crazio leaving it alone. Seems to be the choice that's going to work. Now Crazio just cleaning this up. Very good game by both bots here. Crazio able to pull out the win. We do have the Queen's Nest, so maybe we'll see the hive get rebuilt, but a little bit late though, unfortunately, if it does. Now it seems that Monster has gone back to the, or had gone back to the Mutalisk Scourge army that it was doing before it tried the transition to Hydralisks right as the natural was getting busted. But a very entertaining game. Moving on here, we have a PVZ with off of the Basil ladder. So we've got Banana Brain spawning in the top left as the teal Protoss up against Monster, spawning as the yellow Zerg down here in the bottom left of Fighting Spirit. So PVZ is something that we haven't seen yet today. Hopefully we'll get some cool storms, although I believe Banana Brain may just be goons, so we might not get to scream out our storms. But let's go ahead and bring the protection tab up here. We do have a looks like might have been a 9 pull, I'm thinking, based on the supply counts right now. Banana Brain has scouted out Monster. Monster gonna go ahead and try to scout out, doing a cross scout here, but not going to find Banana Brain up in that top right since they are in the top left. And now we do have the natural expansion coming down here. We do have a Zergling started, so another set of Zerglings started. So we're not going super aggressive here. Now we're back to getting drones, but we are getting a few military units here. We've cross scouted and found that to be empty, so the drone's going ahead and coming back now. We are doing a Forge expansion here for Banana Brain. And now the drone is going to go ahead and find this as the gateway starts to come down. So we do see this is a Forge expansion. No need to send our drone into the main. We're just going to go ahead and pull it back now. And there's also no need for our Zerglings to really risk getting hurt here. So we're just going to go ahead and park outside and just kind of observe what we can. While these other drones here, or Zerglings here, are just going to go ahead and scout. And we're also now getting our third hatchery at an expansion instead of in the main. So we're doing a fast double expand here by the Zerg, which is a pretty safe play going up against a Forge expand, because you know it's going to be a good while before your opponent really has an army that they can truly pressure you with. But they are going to go ahead and chase that Zergling away a bit here. And then going to go ahead and back a little bit, although that Zealot is kind of awkwardly positioned. If there were enough Zerglings, they could come around. The Zergling just kind of ran around and and just poked in again. Says, okay, you're still there. I'm gonna back off for now. But this Zealot could be backed off from retreat and picked off, but I mean, really, in the large scheme of things, that would be some small potatoes. So we do have now more gateways coming down. So Banana Brain ramping up its production capabilities here. We are getting, it looks like, the Goon range, and we're getting Hydralisk speed, so we'll probably see some Hydralisk play here from Monster pretty soon. Second gas is now down. We're getting our defenses. And again, Monster just goes ahead and morphs those creep colonies into Sunkens as soon as it can. I really love to see those Zergs hold back on doing that creep colony morph when they can. Monster being forced to lose that Zergling there as Banana Brain gets in and pokes out. Like, that would be the time when those units start, or that Zergling starts to get hit and forced back to then go ahead, okay, I need my creeps to be Sunkens now. But Banana Brain sees the Sunkens, gonna go ahead and back off. Pick off that other Zerg, or that Zergling rather, and now it's gonna head down here. Sees what's there, decides, okay, I can't quite break that, but maybe I can do some type of contain. And it's pumping out its Dragoons. Now we are seeing Corsairs getting ready to come out. We're seeing more Sunkens morphing just in time. That's the type of timing I love to see. We're seeing a replacement creep colony here come down. There's some stray Zerglings that are trying to scout what's going on. It sounds like a Zealot might have got picked off there. Meanwhile, Banana Brain is taking its third. It's got the, or has taken its third rather, and has done the probe transfer, getting its gas set up there. Monster still sitting on 3 bases. I would like to see it maybe try to get an expansion out again pretty soon here, but it is very low on minerals, getting pressured by Banana Brain here. It doesn't really have that opportunity to get that expansion, having to spend that money on defenses and army. But pushing the Protoss army back, feeling pretty confident here, maybe pushing it all the way back to the natural. Corsair is out, but not going to be able to do too much with these Hydralisks here, especially since it seemed to just want to go where those Hydralisks were instead of just completely pathing around. But now these Hydralisks getting into a dangerous position. They're getting sandwiched by the army. Can't push forward because the cannons can't really fall. Whoops, let me just cover the action with that there. But couldn't really go anywhere there, and just a lot of units lost there by Monster. Very nice surround that happened to be made there by Banana Brain. Didn't quite catch if that was more of an intentional thing or if that just happened to be where the units path during their retreat that the army split up there. But now the army is split up a little bit again here. We have some that are across the bridge, some that are on the other side of it. Splitting up Monster's army as well, but I'm not quite sure what the army there on the right is doing. Engaging with those Zealots now, though, and then the rest of the army coming over to help out with that and pick those Zealots off. So we've got a good bit of engagement here happening. Looks like we are getting Lair Tech, I believe, or is that a Hive? I always get that icon confused. I'm thinking that's Lair, though, because I don't see a Queen's Nest down, and that was indeed a Lair. I heard a Dark Templar, so we've got Dark Templar right now for Banana Brain. So we do have a bit of a mix of army composition here, which is great to see. Losing those Zealots, though, but forcing that army back. Oh, and we do have a Storm, but it didn't get too much down there. I believe Monster has some pretty good Storm dodging code in its base. Another Storm there. Not doing too much, but it is trying. The High Templar is trying. Nice line of Sunkens here. Just dealing heavy damage to those Dragoons. Not quite able to bust it. He is taking the top right base, though. It looks like that has probably been established already, as I don't see a Nexus under construction. And meanwhile, Monster is taking the bottom right base. We're getting the Lurker aspect. So we're going to need to... okay, good. We do have Observers out and actually have the Observer selected from one of my random selections. So the Lurkers, they're going to be able to deal some damage, but they're not going to be able to... And this Lurker is stuck because of this Lurker egg here. I can't, it doesn't know what to do. It's doing a dance right now. But now we have pushed into this base here. Not going to be able to take it, but now we know it's there. So it's getting cleaned out a bit. Nice Storm. Storms are going to do some damage to those Lurkers, though. We do have the Reaver Shuttle combo out here, so cleaning up the Zerg army, but the Zerg army able to macro pretty quickly back to the state it was at. But the Templars... So the Hydralisks, they can dodge Storms all day. Lurkers not so much once they're burrowed. So great to see that the Storm is being able to pay off for Banana Brain here trying to break this, storming the sunken colony. That's not going to do much for you. And the shuttle gets picked off, but it also sounded like the Reaver that it was carrying had already been picked off. Another nice storm there by Banana Brain. The Dark Templar trying to do some work, but the Overlord there making sure that there's some detection going on. So that way the Dark Templar can't be uncontested. Meanwhile, they were able to sneak off some Zerglings up here that are causing some problems. There's a burrowed Zergling up here, so... And the little dance by Banana Brain here. The probe, I'm not quite sure what to do about that situation. Meanwhile, Monster was able to take this bottom right, get it established, and maybe trying to go for this natural pretty soon. I like the two lurkers that are positioned up at the top of the ramp there. Storm attempt there on the Mutalisks, but not able to do much damage as the Mutalisks spread out, and then the High Templar was able to be picked off. So Banana Brain now trying to gain control of this middle of the map here, forcing this Zerg army back a fair bit, now into that middle, and now going after the natural again. I don't know if the natural is what I agree with targeting here, but if it's able to break these sunken lines, which it might be able to do here, it's a very zealot heavy force, which is going to do good against these lurkers. 3 of the sunkens have fallen, trying to get a 4th or another sunken backup, but it gets destroyed after it finishes morphing as a creep colony. Looks like he might be able to break through here, but the army kind of getting separated here by this lone Zergling. There are some Zerglings in the middle of the map that are trying to find some space to cause some problems back home. Not quite able to find a good place to do that, though they were able to take out 1 cannon. But now it looks like this natural will fall. Looks like Banana Brain is going to maybe be able to take control of this game. The 2 drones that morph, they're getting taken out by the Reaver. The burrowed drone trying to escape, not able to do so. It looks like the main is going to fall. We did get the hive, but we didn't. Very nice dodging there of the storms by the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks now focusing on the Reaver, which would be a good high priority target to have here. And now the Zealots going ahead and falling back because they've taken out most of the tech here. They're going to go ahead and just retreat home. Okay, didn't quite expect that. They left the hive alive. Monster's going to try and rebuild here. But now the army is going to come out again. So I guess it was just wanting to regroup. There is some harassment going on here, though, by the Mutalisk Cloud. The Zealot army moving into the middle here. Looks like Monster going ahead and taking another expansion instead of retaking its natural. Banana Brain. I really like this super Zealot heavy army that it's got right now. Looks like it's trying to work its way back to the main while the goons deal with this Mutalisks and Scourges. It would be good to just have the Zealots march into the bases while the Dragoons try and deal with the Mutalisks wherever they happen to be on the map. Because these Zealots should be more than enough. If we just check the upgrades real quick, they are 3-2 right now, 3 attack, 2 armor. We don't have any shield upgrades, and the 3rd armor upgrade is on the way, so cleaning this up quite nicely. And now just got to get the rest of the bases. It's expanding to the middle. Perhaps because that's the only base left. These Zerglings not quite sure what they want to do about this. They're like, maybe we'll... okay, there's Dragoons here now. We're just gonna focus on the Zealot that we can get. I'm trying to get this base. There's a lot of buildings being built in it. A lot of Evo chambers, it looks like, and upgrades and stuff. So Monster's just trying to essentially rebuild after losing its main. Looks like it's not quite going to be able to here, so... It does still have 3 bases, huge economy, but just no real production capabilities because it does not have the larva resources that it had before. So now at this point, I think it's just a matter of losing units to these lurkers here, because where do we do have a couple of observers, but I'm not sure where they are on the map right now. We've got some Corsairs trying to deal with these Mutalisks here, so... The burrow. What is this? This is just silly. The drones are just bait right now for the army, for these lurkers to get kills. I wish I could see the kill count on these lurkers. This is just silly. Oh man. Just speed this up a little bit, but they are slowly getting the drones, but... Oh boy. Meanwhile, there are Zerglings here tearing apart this middle base, tearing apart some of the probes at least, but gonna be able to go ahead and survive. Meanwhile, the distraction of the army over there did work out in Monster's favor. Let it get a little bit of an army going again. We do have 43 Zerglings out on the field, and now we're starting to get some Hydralisks again. But now these Corsairs with the Mutalisks gone are just going to start picking off these Overlords one by one until he's able to get some, Monster's able to get some type of anti-air. But now the Zealots coming into the base down here in the bottom mid, also finding the space up here and thinking about doing something there. But for some reason, both of the observers that he has are up here. One following the shuttles, that kind of makes sense. And now the other one has gone off somewhere. Okay, now the other one's come down here. So both of the observers were kind of just hanging out in the same sort of spot. These guys want to attack, but they're afraid of something. I don't know what they're afraid of, but they're afraid of it. You could go in. The Hydralisks are leaving, but they're just sitting there kind of scared to move in there for whatever reason. But now the army's coming in, taking out the Hydralisks. The Corsairs are still scared to move forward. Yeah, Monster hanging in there, dealing with this, causing some problems for this middle base too. Managing to keep this dude thanks to the ramp and the high ground, I think, but Banana Brain's army count is really small, and it's just producing probes. Monster could win this. I'm not sure exactly what happened to Banana Brain's army, but harassing this middle and keeping the probe count low there, Banana Brain has pretty much used most of the resources that it's gathered on this map. Now, one of the last two mining bases are being taken out by Monster. Monster's gonna pull out a win. I mean, that's the thing that you can see happen with these bot games is that, or these AI games, is that, you know, they don't quit. And so Monster was able to just hang in there, get some bad trades, or get Banana Brain to go for some bad trades, rather, to where now suddenly Banana Brain's like, oh crap, I don't have an army. Oh crap, I don't have the resources to replace the army I don't have. And then Monster's able to just be like, well, I have an army. I have resources to replace this army and take the game. So I would say that this was a good game by both bots. You know, I think maybe what happened here, like I said, is just Monster hanging on. Banana Brain not able to crack those last mining bases that Monster had. And then just not, and along with that, not having that, I guess, army control that it needed to be able to accomplish that goal to close it out. But this was quite the fun game to watch because it was essentially Monster on its heels until Banana Brain's army just ran out. And with that, Banana Brain goes ahead and taps out. Definitely some exciting games this week. Once the round robin concludes, the elimination phase will be run off stream, and once the elimination phase is complete, we'll begin casting that phase of the tournament. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe.